What was life before Sofi Tukker?
Before we met in 2014, we were both at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, doing very different things. I was a basketball player. I was recruited to play there. I was the captain of the team. I was training to be a professional basketball player, and I ended up getting sick and having to leave school for a year. And when I left school for a year, I was in bed for about 7 or 8 months, and that's when I wanted to be productive. So I taught myself how to make music on my computer by just like watching YouTube tutorials and stuff. And then went back to school, and that's when I met Sophie.
And you, Sophie, what did you do?
What was I doing? I don't know. I was at school. I was doing a lot of random things. I lived in Brazil like in 2013. So I had just got back from Brazil and I was writing music in Portuguese because I was missing it so much.
Our musical influences are totally different. For me, I just had a lot of phases, I think. Growing up, when I was young, I listened to what my parents listened to, which was like oldies, disco, funk, like Chic, War, those types of sort of funky Motown music. And then when I started choosing my own music, I was listening to a lot of rap music, Eminem, 50 Cent, G-Unit, that sort of stuff. It kind of went with my basketball. And then I had like a punk phase in high school. I listened to a lot of like punk, sort of pop punk bands. And then I really fell in love with house music and dance music in like college.
Yeah, I grew up listening to jazz in my house, and like, I guess you'd call it world music. Like a lot of Buena Vista Social Club and Amadou and Miriam. And then I actually lived in Italy for a bit, and in Italy the most like popular artist in my high school was Manu Chao. And then I lived in Brazil, so I got really into Brazilian music, and I studied Brazilian music in college. And then I was on a West African dance troupe, so listened to random music my whole life. Yeah, so I lived in Duino in Italy, in the north, in Friuli for 2 years, and my Italian's really not very good, unfortunately.
Did you study that?
I studied a little bit of Italian, but it was an international school.
The first time I felt like it was really working was like the couple days before we graduated from Brown in 2014. We wrote Drinkee, and it was the first time she'd ever played electric guitar, because she'd always played acoustic guitar. So we borrowed a friend's electric guitar, put it in her hand, and we made the song, the beginnings of the song that became our first song, Drinkee. And I think in that moment, I was like, there's something really cool here. But we didn't expect it to be as big as it did. And then I think it was like a whole year later, maybe even longer than a year later, when we put it out, and then it got an Apple commercial. And that was when I think we were like, oh, this is maybe really working. This is real. And then maybe half a year later than that, it got nominated for a Grammy. And then, so all the same song, but then we really were like, okay, this really worked.
But I think, as an artist, you're never at a point where you're like, oh my God, I've arrived. You're like, every day is still, we're still working and hoping that the next thing will work and connect, and that it'll make us come alive, and there's so much more we want to do.
But that song,
yeah,
we felt good about.
Totally.
We talk about it a lot,
yeah.
Our musical identity and how important it is today, because there's so many artists and there's so much music coming out, that I think it is really important for people, if they hear your music, that they can recognize it's you without having to look it up. And I think, luckily, being an electronic artist, a lot of electronic artists don't have like a singer. So we do, luckily, have, I guess both of us now really sing. I sing a lot more than I used to, or rap or talk or whatever you call it. But I think having a sound, and I think guitar plays a big role in our sort of sound, and Sophie's vocal and my low vocal sometimes, and just kind of like making it feel dancey and worldly with like house music influences. Portuguese, definitely.
I think for us it's like, there's some elements that make it very us, but also we want to always be evolving and being inspired by new things and creating, things that surprise us. So it's like constantly pushing the boundaries, but then coming back home, let's say, and doing both at the same time is what we try to do. Every country is so different for us. Like, we released the CP, and in some countries swing got really big, in some countries Playa Grande got big, and in some countries Purple Hat got big, all at the same time. Like, or those were the kind of the favorite of the country, let's say. And so Playa Grande worked really well here, and in Mexico especially. But we had
in South America in general.
Yeah. But we had no idea where it would connect, let's say.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's
it's in
so
English,
cool.
it's in English, it's in Spanish, and it's in Portuguese.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty weird track. And it makes you feel like you're dancing on the beach, which I think everyone wants to do.
Yeah.
I want to do all
but
the time.
But we never know when we release a song where it might connect. So the fact that it's connected in Italy is just really cool and really like surprising, and we love the song, so we're really flattered and happy that Italians like it too.
Yeah. Well, this happened with Drinkee too.
Yeah.
It was a fully Portuguese song, and we first released it in Italy before anywhere else, just to try it in a place where they don't speak Portuguese, and it worked. And we were like, oh, whoa, Italy is I feel like Italy's cool because they are open to that sort of thing, and not all places are open.
Yeah.
Like, it's harder in America to be on the radio in all Portuguese. Doesn't really happen. I mean, I guess we've done it a little bit, but they're not as open to it, I think. So Spanish now they're open to, but still Portuguese not quite open to. So it's just interesting. Swing's fun.
Swing's really fun. Yeah, Swing is a collaboration with the Brazilian poet Acau, just like Drinkee. And yeah, it's just it's really fun live. You'll see tonight. It's like one of my favorite ones to do live for sure, because it's epic. Like, it has this really big feeling to it, and the strings are really epic, and yeah, it just feels.
Yeah, we started
hard.
playing bigger shows when we were writing this EP, and we wanted to start making music that sounded bigger, like that could be played to fields and fields of people, rather than just like smaller clubs of people. So this was one where we were experimenting with just sort of like an epicness. That's always important for me to, like, as a DJ, to, try to make songs that can work in like a house set, as well as, on the radio or in our live set, and sort of all that.
I would say personally, growing up when I was very young, like when I was in middle school, it was a big, big part of my life.
Radio.
Yeah, radio was a really big part of my life. And at that time, streaming didn't exist. And right, when I was in middle school, I don't think it did.
No.
It's pretty new. And then I went to boarding school in Italy, and kind of like I was completely out of touch with pop culture for many years. So I didn't really like even register when the transition happened for me from radio to streaming, but I hadn't like listened to the radio since I was probably 13.
For me, growing up, definitely radio, and like buying CDs and stuff, and MTV and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, now I definitely listen to a lot of streaming, but I love driving. I love being in a car, and I do listen to the radio. And it's still really important to artists. I mean, it pays way better than streaming does. It still dictates culturally what's happening in that, on the Billboard chart in that country, and I think it's still important. When we're making music though, we don't really think about either one. Like, we don't really think about radio or streaming. Oftentimes we'll make like a 7-minute song, and then our manager's like, you have to cut it down, radio's not gonna play this, and we like fight them about it. And we're like, no, but this song's perfect. Albertino. Yeah, but we try not to, when we're actually making the art, like creating, we try not to think about that stuff.
Such a good question.
I think we confuse a lot of people. I think sometimes festivals don't know whether to put us on the DJ stage or like the alternative stage. And I think oftentimes neither of them fit us perfectly. Because if we're on the alternative stage, then we don't have all the like effects and the screen and the like CO2 and all this stuff. But then if we're on the DJ screen, they don't have enough inputs and they don't have the right sound. And so we're in this weird between that I think actually really like makes bookers really confused a lot of times.
And we do different sets. So
we
kind
DJ.
of do like almost 3 different things because we do our live show with instruments and we're both singing, we're both playing, and we have our sculpture.
That's our main thing that we tour with, that we're playing here
That's all.
tonight at Fabric, and that we do at like Coachella and our
Yeah.
biggest things.
But then we've been booked for some like electronic festivals, and then we'll do like Tucker will DJ, I'll sing, and I'll play like a little bit of guitar, and I'll like entertain. And then that's sort of like the more electronic setup. And then we throw club nights too. So we take over a whole club. We call it our animal talk parties, and we bring our friends to DJ, and we dress up the club like a jungle, and everyone is wearing an animal mask. So yeah,
and we
do,
DJ those as well.
And we DJ, sorry, yeah. So we do a little bit of everything, but I think it does confuse people for sure.
Yeah.
When we met Benny Benassi, actually the first interaction we had was he was like, "Oh, Sofi Tukker, Drinkee," and he started singing the guitar line. He was like, "Da da 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 da." So then I was like, I was singing Satisfaction on top of that, and so that's how we met, like a little mashup.
It totally works.
Yeah, it's really, really good actually. Yeah, we just kept seeing each other all the time, different festivals, different shows. And he's just the nicest guy ever. He's so kind, he's so gracious.
Yeah.
We just went to the club with him, he was playing, and like during his set, his friends would come in and he'd leave the booth and be like, "Everyone, you need a drink? Like, you okay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "You're playing right now, this is crazy." But he's so kind to everyone and gracious, and he really, I think, shows us exactly how we want to be. Hopefully have a long career and just be so generous and like, no ego, like such a good person.
Yeah. He's a real joy to be around. It's no surprise that he still has a great career going, because like who wouldn't want to book him for anything?
Just to be around him.
Just a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. Hey, I'm Tucker.
And I'm Sophie.
And we're Sofi Tukker.
Ciao, Radio M2O.
M2O